Ma'am, we need your attention right now. I hadn't even finished my second cup of coffee when a nervous junior legal associate rushed into my office. He handed me a printed document with shaking hands. I looked at it once and immediately understood the problem. A confidential memo about a major company asset sale had been accidentally sent to the entire mergers and acquisitions partner list. If even one person forwarded it outside the company, the information could leak to the media before lunchtime. Tell Susan to recall the email immediately, I said calmly. Clean the servers, check who received it, and pull the audit logs. I want to know if anyone outside the company accessed the files. For me, this was just another Tuesday. For 8 years, I had been the person who fixed disasters before anyone at the top even knew they existed. My official title was Senior Strategic Advisor, but everyone knew what I really was: the company's fixer. I solved problems. I protected executives. I cleaned up mistakes made by powerful people who never bothered reading the plans I created for them. By 9:30 that morning, the crisis was gone. The leak was stopped. Security protocols were updated. The communications team had a believable explanation ready. The executives celebrated another disaster avoided. Then I returned to my office and noticed something strange. My weekly meeting with the CEO had disappeared from my calendar. Not moved, not delayed, deleted. The invitation to an important strategy meeting was also gone. My name had been removed completely. I checked my system access. Some of my administrator permissions had quietly been reduced. Someone was preparing to remove me. I didn't panic. I had worked in corporate politics long enough to recognize a betrayal before it happened. They weren't going to make a dramatic scene. No security guards. No public embarrassment. This would be the quiet kind of betrayal, the kind where new leadership takes over and the people who built the company are slowly erased. That evening, I left work early. When I got home, I fed my cat, poured a glass of wine, and opened a hidden encrypted archive I had not touched in 6 years. Inside were old merger agreements, emergency plans, and legal documents. One folder caught my attention. Trigger events, clause 14.6. I opened it. Then I smiled. The next morning, I was called into HR. Brandon, the CEO's son-in-law and the company's newest executive, sat waiting with a fake professional smile. Beside him sat Sandra from HR, looking uncomfortable. Lisa, Brandon began, after a strategic review, we have decided to eliminate your position, effective immediately. Retroactively, Sandra added quietly. The paperwork was completed yesterday, so they had already made the decision before telling me. Interesting. I stayed calm. You are terminating me? I asked. Yes, Brandon said. It isn't personal. Of course, they always said that. Sandra handed me a severance package. My computer access had been removed. My office was already being packed. They expected anger. They expected tears. Instead, I signed the acknowledgement page with my own fountain pen. Not the non-disclosure agreement. Not the non-compete. Only the document confirming they had informed me that pen was important. Years earlier, I had helped create a signature verification system for executive legal disputes. My pen's pressure pattern and ink profile were linked to the company's security archive. A small detail, a very important detail. I left the building without saying another word. In my car, I searched my private archive. The document appeared immediately. Redemption trigger, DNC14. The clause was clear. If I was involuntarily terminated by an executive connected through family ties to company leadership, and the termination was part of a restructuring, a hidden equity transfer agreement would activate. And Brandon had just fulfilled every condition. I had written that clause myself 6 years earlier during a chaotic merger. Back then, everyone was afraid of hostile takeovers. No one imagined the danger would come from inside the company, but I did. I had created protections nobody bothered to read. That afternoon, I retrieved the original documents from a private storage unit. They were exactly where I left them. Signed, stamped, legally valid. I contacted my lawyer, Mitch Caldwell. I need this verified today. I told him. He examined the papers and nodded. This is serious. Very. He created multiple certified copies, recorded the timestamps, and secured the documents. Everything was ready. I prepared an encrypted package containing the agreement, the original signatures, and the evidence proving the conditions had been met. Then I scheduled it to arrive during Friday's board meeting, exactly at 1 p.m. the moment Brandon would be presenting his new company restructuring plan. He had no idea that the person he had fired was about to become the most powerful person in the room. Friday arrived. I walked into the headquarters like I still belonged there. Because in many ways, I did. The boardroom was full. Brandon stood proudly beside the presentation screen. He looked shocked when he saw me. "Lisa," he said nervously, "we weren't expecting you." "I know," I replied. "That seems to be a pattern lately." I took my usual seat. No one stopped me. At 12:59 p.m., my watch VIBRATED. 1 minute remained. Brandon continued talking about efficiency, restructuring, and eliminating outdated roles. Then, at exactly 1 p.m., the legal department received an urgent notification. The boardroom screen changed. A document appeared. Equity Redistribution Protocol, Clause 14.6 activated. Silence filled the room. The legal team reviewed the files. Every signature was authentic. Every timestamp was verified. Every requirement had been fulfilled. Brandon stared at me. "You planned this?" I shook my head. "No, you activated it." The CEO demanded the documents be challenged. The company lawyers checked the records. The answer was simple. He had signed them 6 years earlier. They were legal. They were binding. They were irreversible. Then the final confirmation arrived. The company's equity system updated. Control of the executive trust transferred. 72% of company ownership now belonged to me. The woman they had removed, the employee whose desk they had packed. The person they believed was no longer important. The CEO sat down in complete silence. Brandon looked like he had forgotten how to breathe. I stood, removed my old company badge, and placed it on the table in front of him. He looked at my name on the plastic card. I gave him a small smile. "Thank you for firing me," I said. I couldn't have activated it myself. No one replied. There was nothing left to say. The screen behind them displayed one final message: ownership transfer complete. I walked out of the boardroom calmly. For 8 years, I had been the person who fixed everyone else's mistakes. This time, their biggest mistake became my greatest victory.